In this type of ceremony, cheering, yelling, hoots, and other such outbursts after individual names have been announced is considered inappropriate. You are also reminded to remain seated when taking photos and to refrain from leaving your seats during the ceremony. Following the conclusion of our program, family and friends are welcome to come forward and congratulate our graduates and to take photos on stage if you like. Please stand with me now and remain standing until after our invocation as the Merrillville High School Band announces the arrival of the senior class of 1992 with the traditional entrance song, Pomp and Circumstance. please bow your heads as Father Joseph E. Vamos delivers our invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, Lord of creation, we gather this evening to ask your blessing on this commencement and graduation. We gather as family and friends of the 1992 graduating class of Merrillville High School, asking that you guide them in the days and years ahead, direct their actions, and guide their plans for the future. The world today gives us many opportunities to bring about truth, justice, goodness, and peace among all people, regardless of race, nationality, or religious preference. May our faith in you guide us in our respect and concern for each other. May these graduates continue to use their talents and the education given them so that their quality of life can be enhanced in every way and progress continue in everything that pertains to life and the various intellectual disciplines that influence society. May these graduates be the instrument of a better tomorrow. We ask your blessing on their parents and guardians, the administration and teachers, and all those who have helped in any way to bring these young men and women to this graduation day. We ask your blessing on each of them and the friendships that they have made. May your continued guidance and blessing bring about the best in all and help us to share goodness with one another. Grant that we may never abuse knowledge, but utilize our talents, that all might see in each of us the infinite perfection of you, our Heavenly Father. Amen.
Will you please be seated? I am happy to introduce our first speaker this evening, the president of this year's senior class, Jennifer Marie Jagila.
On behalf of the class of 1992, I would like to welcome the faculty, administrators, parents, honored guests, and fellow graduates. As we think back, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Now, it is our time. These words best describe our 3 years at Merrillville High School. The memories of lifelong friends, spring breaks, prom, and our winning academic and athletic teams only partially account for the good times. And who could ever forget the winning football score of 13-12 over our rivals, Hobart? Mountains of homework, impossible exams, and the ongoing construction were obviously some of the worst times. Over the years, we have all experienced some great times, but also some disappointments. Through these tough times, we have proven to ourselves that we can make it. We can succeed. If anyone is in doubt, just look where we are tonight. As a class, I think we can truly say that time has flown by. It seems like yesterday when we entered the doors of Merrillville High as sophomores. Now, we're graduating. And now is our time. Time is a valuable commodity and should not be wasted. In today's busy society, there doesn't seem to be enough time. Time is so very precious, and no one knows how much time we have. We are accountable as to how we use our time. You can become a legacy by working hard and always believing in yourself. Like our valedictorians, Christine Hickok and Jessie Mishka. Like our salutatorian, Kristen Johnston. Like our state wrestling champion, Dennis Watson. And like our state champion gymnastics team, represented by Chrissy Lish and Jody Campbell. No matter what path your future takes, enjoy life and live each day to the fullest. Have fun and enjoy the beauty around us. Remember, as someone once said, yesterday's problems are only written in sand. As we close the chapter on our high school past and go on our separate ways, we can only feel pride in what we have accomplished. It's time to cherish the memories while we plan our futures. I hope we can look back on our high school days and remember them as some of the best days of our lives. Congratulations to the class of 1992, and I hope to see all of us at our class reunions. Thank you.
It is with pride that I introduce the valedictorian of the class of 1992, Christine Carol Hickok.
How will we, the class of 1992, affect the world? How will we respond to the problems in our society? We have the choice of taking it easy and letting whatever happens, happen. Or we can work hard and have a positive impact. In order to do this, it is necessary to bring back the American work ethic. That is which only through hard work and determination can anything be achieved. This was the prevailing idea prior to the 1960s, and because of it, this nation was unquestionably the world leader. Along with this work ethic was the Christian worldview, which, along with many other ideas, encourages helping others and putting our faith and absolute trust in God instead of other human beings. We all strive for perfection, but the mistakes we make help us to learn and to grow. When we, for example, start new jobs, we will be eager to learn the ropes. At times we may not get it right, but by learning from our mistakes, we can eventually do it correctly. Today's society encourages people to do whatever they think is right for themselves, without regard for anyone else. Not that we, as individuals, don't have needs, but nothing can be accomplished in a society that operates as individuals instead of as families, communities, and as a whole. The saying of the Three Musketeers is appropriate: one for all and all for one. We need to be strong as families. However, the rate of divorce, the number of unwed mothers, and the number of non-married couples living together are skyrocketing. Almost half of all the marriages end in divorce, and unwed mothers are becoming almost common. I think everyone would agree that these are not ideal situations, but since it is the case, we, as a society, need to find ways to deal with them and help the people involved without promoting these behaviors. How will we respond? Past actions cannot be reversed, but we can decide that starting now, we are going to make our families tight-knit and do everything we can to make our families that way. How we decide to develop our families will affect our children's lives in their entirety. Our actions can either be positive or negative. How will we respond? All of the aforementioned situations have choices involved and reflect our values. That is, what we deem important, and also the rules by which we live our lives. The Judeo-Christian values of honesty, hard work, and abstinence before marriage and monogamy after marriage are what I consider the most sound. Many people expect the government to solve our problems, but the government as an institution can't do anything unless the people of this great country decide to do their parts. Too often, we try to get by with the smallest amount of effort possible. We, as seniors, have joked about this as senioritis. Obviously, we can't all expect to put 100% into everything we do, but we can choose a few activities or projects and put as much as we are capable of into them and have a positive impact. How will we respond? It is up to us. Will our impact be positive?
It is with equal pride that I introduce Jessie Lynn Mishka, valedictorian of the class of 1992.
Graduation is one of the climaxes in our lives, and this ceremony is exciting because it seems to be such a clear starting point. Many students may see graduation as a chance to change their roles in society. Our direction from this starting point is up to us. Choices we make now may affect our lives drastically, but we can always choose again and change again. It's never too late to make a change in order to make our lives better or to make ourselves happier. We sometimes make excuses, aloud and unconsciously, for our misfortunes and seemingly impossible situations, whether in school, at work, or in our relationships. But we need to see ourselves clearly, without crucifying ourselves, but also without softening any harsh truth. Through this perception of ourselves, we can see that our abilities to change or to accomplish anything depends on our dedication and our efforts. We can be slaves to fate, or we can be free. Not everyone has the desire to be a leader, but we all should lead ourselves. The accomplishment of our goals lies in us, and just how much we want to reach those goals. If I don't attain a goal or self-standard, the blame lies primarily on myself. One step closer to an ideal self is to admit, it wasn't because of anyone else that I didn't succeed, but because my drive just fell short of success. The positive side of admitting that success lies within ourselves is that the benefits belong to us. When we do attain a goal, it was through our own blood, sweat, and tears, and we deserve the credit. An anonymous poem titled "The Man in the Glass" sums up the idea of living by self-standards instead of by the standards of others. I hope that everyone, not just tonight's graduates, will find something in it for themselves. When you get what you want in your struggle for self, and the world makes you king for a day, just go to a mirror and look at yourself and see what that man has to say. For it isn't your father or mother or wife whose judgment upon you must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in your life is the one staring back from the glass. Some people might think you're a straight-shooting chum and call you a wonderful guy. But the man in the glass says you're only a bum if you can't look him straight in the eye. He's the fellow to please, never mind all the rest, for he's with you clear to the end. And you pass your most dangerous test if the guy in the glass is your friend. You may fool the whole world down the pathway of years and get pats on the back as you pass, but your final reward will be heartache and tears if you've cheated the man in the glass. We, the 1992 graduates of Merrillville High, feel the excitement of unknown and usually promising possibilities. There is positive excitement because we foresee opportunities to assume more independence and individuality, but there may also be some fear that the future will not be as ideal as we imagine. But all of us in this room, no matter what our age, have the chance, the freedom to shape our lives as we desire. If others rule our daily activities, it's because we gave them our freedom or allowed them to take it. It's true that we must accommodate others every day, but it is vital that we remain true to ourselves and believe in our potential, not just tonight, but at any point in our lives.
pleased to introduce the salutatorian of this year's graduating class, Kristen Elizabeth Johnston.
Booker T. Washington once said, "Few things help an individual more than to place responsibility upon him and to let you know that you trust him." From the beginning, this is what your parents have tried to do. Through their nurturing, you have formed attitudes, established behaviors, and learned right versus wrong. Your parents have helped you develop a sense of security and also basic skills for life, such as manners, being independent, and being responsible. Once you reach the early school age, both parents and teachers were responsible for you. Your parents made sure you were at school every day, had school supplies, and provided you with something to eat. After school, they were responsible for watching over you and maintaining your health, guarding you against sickness. Your teachers taught you how to interact with people your own age as well as other adults. You learned verbal and writing skills and were given assignments to develop responsibility. During adolescence, much more responsibility was placed on you, the individual. Homework became much more frequent, and your social lives were no longer limited to your immediate surroundings. Things such as peer pressure, dating, and driving a car became important. Some of you may have gotten part-time jobs that required you to budget your time more efficiently. Basically, you became more independent and developed your own judgments. Throughout much of this time, parents have been willing and available to accept some responsibility for most of your actions. By the end of high school, a firm foundation has hopefully been established, and you are now ready to take on the world. Some of you have a job and are already working. If this is the case, your employer is going to expect you to listen, be accurate, and work hard. For those of you going on into the military, you'll be away from home and basically on your own. If you plan on going to a college or trade school, you must be organized and be able to budget your time. And if you are planning on starting a family right away, you'll have to keep track of finances and hold it down a good job. Sooner or later, roles begin to change. Those of you who plan to have children will be responsible for their schooling and overall well-being, just as your parents were. Some of you may have the responsibility of taking care of a sick or elderly family member, giving back to them what they gave to you for so many years. Whatever your situation may be, hopefully your decisions will live up to the values instilled in you throughout your life. William Gordon is quoted as saying, "I believe that all of us have the capacity for one adventure inside of us. The great adventure is facing responsibility day after day." As president of the senior class, I want to present our senior gift, which will provide a landscaped area with benches, trees, shrubs, and flowers to help beautify our campus.
On behalf of the Merrillville Board of School Trustees, thank you, class. You are the construction class. Congratulations to the class of '92.
Over the past 10 years, Grady Jim Robinson has emerged as one of the very finest platform speakers in America. His enthusiastic, fun-filled, inspirational messages have hit the mark for thousands of listeners in national and local education meetings. Originally from Arkansas, Grady Jim now calls St. Louis his home. He is a rare combination of down home and downtown. His journey to the top of the world's most challenging profession, professional speaking, is somewhat unique. For 9 years, Grady Jim served as a minister of youth and guidance counselor for churches in Tulsa and Memphis. His witty, hard-hitting, and highly entertaining talks to hundreds of education audiences soon became the highlight of the school year for many people throughout the South. Aside from speaking, Grady Jim has a flourishing writing career. He has been featured regularly in Sports Illustrated and Reader's Digest. Art Linkletter and Zig Ziglar have frequently used his radio scripts. Please join me now in welcoming one of America's most popular humorists and motivators, Mr. Grady Jim Robinson.
Thank you. That was a wonderful introduction. I was beginning to wonder who it was. It sounded so impressive to me. See, I wasn't invited here because I was the valedictorian in my class or voted most likely to succeed. I wish I had been. I'd have been better off if I'd worked hard in school and made good grades. But I had a little bit of a different beginning in life. Seems like just 2 years ago I was sitting right out there, and I know some of you are looking at me and saying, "Hey, pal." No, it seems like bingo, like that. I was sitting right out there. 25 years down the line, one of you is going to be up here speaking to your graduating community. You'll be the speaker. Well, maybe you're not a speaker. Maybe you'll go in a different direction. Last year, I was at the graduation exercise in my hometown, and I was the speaker. And it took a long, tricky road to get back there. All those years ago, sitting out there, I'm sure that the teachers and faculty did not think ever that I'd be the guy to be the speaker. See, I graduated in that third of the class that made the upper two-thirds possible. I sat out there all those years ago with a below C average in school. I'm not bragging about that because it was really pretty dumb of me to let that happen. Because I could have made those grades. And I've wondered over the years, why wasn't I more like these four wonderful, hardworking honorees? And all of you who, you've done your homework, why didn't I do that? I've had to go back and look at that. See, I'm from a little bitty town in Arkansas. And if you know anything about Arkansas, you know that football was second only to the First Baptist Church in importance. There were two men important in our town. That was the football coach and the First Baptist Church preacher. Now, my daddy was the football coach. He was 6'5", 250 pounds. He had a burr, flat-top haircut, smoked Prince Albert roll-your-own cigarettes, had a deep, gravelly voice, talked to me about twice a year whether I needed it or not. He was a macho daddy. This was long before the era of the sensitive father. This was an old-fashioned macho daddy. Daddy, pass some biscuits, son. I love my daddy. I wanted to be like him. In 1958, the Bulldogs went 9-0. He was the number one coach in the state, coached at the Little Rock All-Star game. You look at me now, you kids down there, what you're saying, this old speaker's a big old boy. Guess he was a football player. Sure, I could play in the 9th grade now. Maybe. When I was 12 years old, I was 6'3" and a half and weighed 104 pounds. That's a stud, yeah. I walked in sections. You know how tall, skinny kids are trying to get it all together. Carried the water bucket in the 6th grade for the Bulldogs. I'd run out to the field. The Bulldogs would be down on one knee. They'd rip those helmets off. They'd be steamed under the hair, sleep coming down, mud and blood in their eye. Men with hair on their legs, seniors. And I was a 6th grader, and I'd set that bucket right down there, and they'd fight over that one dipper. And I knew that in just a matter of months, I was expected to what? Play some ball for my daddy. You see, that's what you did in our town to be a part of the community. You play some ball, work in the coal mine, or shoot a deer. But you had to prove that you were what? A bulldog. Now, I had one other little problem, not such a little problem. I had a brother who was 14 months older than me. 1 year older than me. Any of you go through school with a brother or sister 2 or 3 years ahead of you who was brilliant? Huh? And you come over right behind that person, and all the teachers go, oh, there's Lester's little brother. I wonder if he's as good. And he's not. It just don't work that way. You don't get 2 smart ones in one batch. You just don't, you know. My brother was David. He was all-star pitcher on the baseball team, quarterback on the football team, leading scorer on the basketball team, and Joseph in the Christmas play. Not kidding. I was the donkey in the Christmas play. I was the back end of a donkey suit. And the front end was a guy named Elmer Joe Tackett. Now, Elmer was what in those days you'd call, well, today you have special terms for people that have learning problems. Which, you know, but back in those days, back in Arkansas, back in the woods where they didn't use fancy terms, they'd just tell it like it is. They'd call up your mama and say, this sucker is dumb. We might can get him in the Army later, I don't know. Now here's me and Elmer in the donkey suits. I'm going into the 7th grade. My daddy is a legend in our town. My brother's all-star quarterback. And it's time for me to move into the family, into the community, into my peer group, and play some ball. We're sitting around the supper table one night. It's in August. My daddy's looking at me. Danny, there. You haven't been down to get your shoes yet, have you, buddy? I said, no. I haven't been down there yet. See, that's what you did to kind of grow up into your spurs. You'd go down to the field house, get a pair of football shoes, strap them on, run 3 or 4 laps, see if they fit, just to prove to everybody that you're going to be a dedicated bulldog. And so when you went down there and got your shoes, your daddy was so proud. Yeah, my boy went and got his shoes. He's going to play for Coach Brady. Yeah. But I hadn't been down there yet. And it was just 4 days to football practice. I was interested in art, theater, drama, and speech. They didn't have that in our school. And around football. And so my daddy's looking at me. Damn it. Go down to get them shoes, buddy. No, haven't been down there yet. Well, why not, son? You gonna be out on the field with us this year, ain't you? Huh? Yeah, but it won't be till halftime. Oh, what do you mean there, Dad? Yeah. Well, I talked it over with Mom, and she said I could be in the band. Well, you don't play one of them instrument things, do you, son? No. They said I could get a baton. Well, we'll come in here. That's my mother. She walks in and says, what do you want, Greg? He said, what'd you tell James to hear about this baton thing? I said, he didn't have to play football if he doesn't want to. Not to impress you or anybody else. Got it? Yes, ma'am. I didn't know how that worked in those days. I do now. So he turned back to me. All right, Danny, you don't have to play football. You don't want to. But where are you going to live? It's 15, 20 years down the road, and now I have a boy. I'm a father. And I know sitting on the couch in St. Louis tonight is a big 235-pound, 15-year-old kid with hair on his legs, bench presses 200 pounds, been shaving for 2 years, and I want him to play some ball. But he's interested only in Nintendo, MTV, and last Sunday I was proud to attend his piano recital. Times have changed. My boy and I hug and tell each other we love each other. He's a great big old kid, and we still do a little hugging, you know. That kind of macho kind, of course. We were standing out in the mall the other day. Ryan walks up to me and grabs my hand. And we're standing there, two big old grown men, you know, holding hands. You know, I'm the one that kind of goes, ooh, I don't think we ought to do that. My daddy was from the old school. He didn't have the ability to tell me he loved me. And so he connected in different ways. The reason he didn't have that ability was because I knew his father. My father had 3 brothers, Clem, Ethan, and Alton. All were meaner and ornerier than the next. They all went to World War II, and each individually took an island in the South Pacific. With a stick. I mean, these guys were tough. They were Sunday ball playing, tobacco chewing, whiskey drinking, woman chasing men. And they loved it. But you know, times have changed. And I'm not sure that style really is the style I want to be. The only time my father was able to connect with me was in sports. I remember my first Little League game. You think this didn't have an effect on me for the rest of my life? My daddy loved baseball too. My first Little League game. Some of you remember yours? I'm standing up there facing Tommy Fishhook Smith. See, we played one game a year in our little town. We played in blue jeans, tennis shoes, VFW Hall t-shirt, Little League baseball cap. We'd drive up to Fort Smith, Arkansas and play in this game. They had lights, they had a field with grass on the infield, they had a concession stand, umpires in blue uniforms and brand new baseballs. And I'm going to get to be on the team. I'm 8 years old, my brother's 9, he's pitching, batting fourth. I'm playing right field, batting ninth. And they're talking about Fishhook. I said, who? Fishhook Smith. He's going to pitch for the other team. I said, who's he? He said, he's the brother of Hal Smith, catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's the best Little League pitcher of all time. What does Fishhook mean? Curveball. Ooh, what does it do? Man, you'll see. Sure enough, after 3 innings, all 8 guys in front of me struck out on 3 pitches. Came my turn to bat. I walked down the third base line and walked into that little outhouse and locked the door. James, you in there? Yeah. Come on out of there. You're up to bat. Y'all go ahead without me. Come on out of there now and show us what you can do. I walked out of there 8 years old and I stuck a little wooden bat in my hand. Back in those days, we didn't have headgear or metal bats. We had bats nailed together with tape wrapped around them. And out on the mound, sure enough, is Tommy Fishhook Smith wearing cleats, chewing tobacco. 11 years old. I was scared to death. My father walked over there and tried to connect me. One of the few times that I remember him really trying to connect with his little boy. He got down on one knee, put his arm around my shoulder, and said, James, this old boy, there was a pretty good ball here now. Better watch him. I said, I will. But now you can show us what you can do now. You get up there, watch that curveball. I said, what does it do? He said, well, I'll tell you. He's going to throw it right at your head. But don't you duck. I said, why not? He said, that's what a curveball does. It's spinning. Starts cutting the air, comes right down on the plate. You'd look pretty foolish if you're walling around the dirt back here and the umpire called it a strike, wouldn't you? Yeah. All right, get up there now. Show us what you can do. And don't you duck. Man, I walked up there and I was scared to death. But I caught on in that moment. Has there been a time over your past 12 years that you realized that for a moment there you were on the stage and you were in the spotlight and the whole world was watching you? I walked up to that plate and those white stripes from right field and left field came right down to my feet. All the players on the other team were looking at me. The pitcher was looking at me. The catcher's looking at me. The umpire's looking at me. And all of our parents in the stands are looking at me and saying, come on, James, you can hit it. The only kind of pitch I'd ever faced was one of these in the backyard, you know. Here you go. Oh, good try. Throw it back, hon. And now it's time for me to somehow miraculously transform myself into a little 8-year-old kid who has never seen a bullet face Tommy Fishhook Smith. And the key is, don't you duck. And so I hung in there. And Tommy Fishhook Smith, sure enough, kicked that leg in the air, and here it came with all of its force. And it was coming right at my head, and my left leg wanted to go to the dugout so bad. But I pulled it back in there, and the ball was spinning, and you can hear a ball spinning, and it just gets bzzz, right beside my ear. And I'm standing there. I'm thinking, you know, this is a heck of a curveball right here. Get from right here down there in a split second, he ought to be in the major leagues. Well, guess what? At a crucial moment in the past 12 years when you were in the spotlight and you thought you had the wrong information, or you thought you had the right information and you found out that you had the wrong information. You had been led astray by the authorities. That's right, it was a fastball. Oh, down on the ground, try not to cry, this boy's no cry. Daddy walked up there and oh, Daddy, jump up there. Got a little knot there, buddy. Rub some dirt on it. All right, go to first. Steal second, first pitch. On my way to first, I heard him turn to the umpire and go, I wonder why he didn't duck. As I've told these two stories about my childhood journey, I know that in this room there are many of you connecting with stories that happened in your childhood journey that mean just as much to you as those did to me. Overcoming your fear, having to get the courage to get up and try again is the message. I've got so many of those fun stories I could tell, but we don't have time. I just wanted to throw those two out there to give you a brief moment to connect with some of the things that happened in the last 12 years that possibly were not so good. They seemed like they were disasters at the time. And yet, as the years go by, you are going to discover that it's only in the pain, the heartache, the tragedy, and the failures of the attempt is where you learn the valuable messages of living life. It would be good for me to say, thank you, sir. It would be good for me to say, like the president of the university at my graduation said, go out there and be perfectly happy and come back someday and contribute to your community. Do it. That don't work. None of you will be perfectly happy. Nobody in this room is perfectly happy. Probably it is the wrong goal to try to be perfectly happy. What you are seeking over the next few years is to find what? Not success, not goals, not money, not a jacuzzi, not a car, not the fame of Hollywood, and certainly not the power of a broker. What you're looking for is you. What you're looking for is the true and real you. Finito, end of discussion. That's it. All your reading, all your college, all your work, all your experiences need to lead you to your own best self. People ask me after I do my little talk, they say, now, Greg, you told 2 or 3 real weird stories about your failures. See, I was like a canary reader in the 2nd grade. Oh, that's true. Did you have reading groups here? I hope you didn't have birds. Did you? Because, see, this might be a little tender for some of you, but I was in the canary reading group in the 2nd grade. Now, see, the Redbirds are smart kids. They have a circle of chairs and they put them into groups, and that's your A students. That's your future doctors and lawyers. Parents would be so proud if your child got the Redbirds. Oh, Lucille, he's in a Redbird. He's doing so wonderful. And then they had the Bluebirds. That's the B students, not too bad. Future teachers and coaches. And then, I remember the day they put us in the groups. This is an absolute true story. Miss Bell put me in the groups down, some kids over here, and they're going into this circle of chairs, and I'm so excited because that's my church friends. I figured this is my group, these Redbirds. Nope, she didn't call my name. Okay, no problem. No. Hey, my brother's a Redbird, my sister's a Redbird, my mom's a 5th grade teacher, but I get it. I'm not really a Redbird. No big deal. Be a Bluebird. Nope, didn't call my name. Robin's C students. Future politicians, okay? It's a true story. She did not call my name. And I'm standing over here, I'm 7 years old, going, Miss Bell, what group am I in? She goes, well, James Hunt, I didn't forget you. You're in the Canary reading group. I said, man. I said, who else is in that? She said, well, it's you and Elmer Joe Tankard. People saying, are these stories true? Yes. I was in the Canary reading group in the 2nd grade, and I got the impression somebody was trying to tell me that I was subpar below standard. I could not cut the mustard. I could not read. I was not any good in sports. I didn't get my driver's license the first time because I saw that stop sign, and there wasn't anybody coming, so I said, you got to go over there. I got kicked out of typing 3 times as a junior in high school because I was saying something I thought was very funny on the back row, but the teacher did not find it so amusing. And I was sitting out on the back picnic table, and I was depressed. My brother was all-state everything. My sister was a straight-A student. My daddy was a coach. My mom's a teacher. And I wasn't anything. I hadn't been voted most handsome, most likely to succeed. I hadn't been valedictorian or salutatorian. Summa cum laude. My mother, when I finally got out, she just said, thank the Lord. It's one of those. Came home, report card, had 4 F's and a D minus. This is not funny. If my kid did this, I would. But I walked in, I thought it was kind of clever. 7th grade. Tough years. My dad looked at it and said, see here, Jamie, son, there's 4 F's and a D minus. Looks like you've been spending too much time on one subject. Go all night with funny stuff, but I want to lay one on you right here because my time is just about up. I don't know if you will ever remember this speaker up here tonight. It's probably not too important. But I do want to tell you one thing. The most important moment of your life is not 10 years or 20 years or 4 years down the road. It's right now. And it's always right now. Don't be out there looking to be happy someday when you get the big house and the big car and the jacuzzi and the Rolex. No, please. I was sitting out on the back picnic table my junior year, and all this stuff had just happened. True story. I was going through what today we call adolescent depression. Back in those days, they just said, this sucker's a smart aleck. And I was not feeling too good about myself. Any of you ever go through that? I was really going through some inner stuff. And my mother, get this, my mother walked out, the chief advocate of my life, the best friend I ever had, sat down right beside me. She said, son, what's going on in your head? And I said what every teenager will say to his parents, nothing. She said, now I know you're a little upset because David's all-state 2 sports and you're apparently not any good. I said, you really got away with words, Mom. And she was doing this on purpose. She said, I think you're upset because David's president of the Beta Club and has never made a B on his report card in his entire school years. I said, hey, I've never made a B on my report card. Oh, what I would do if my boy came home with that kind of remark. But I did. And then she said this. Listen to me. She said, son, why don't you quit trying to be a ball player for your daddy? I said, what? See, you're trying to be something that you're not quite cut out to be. You're trying to play ball because your daddy has always looked out there on that field and admired those ball players. and you're looking for his approval through trying to be a ball player. She said, son, don't you know you're about the best storyteller ever came through this little school? I said, what? She said, that's your gift, that's your talent, that's your thing. Don't you realize they voted you class clown 3 years in a row? I said, yeah, but Mom, that's not most likely to be president, or it's not, most admired in the history of the school, or it's not most successful before you turn 24. I mean, class clown? Yuck! You know what she said? She said, son, that's your gift. That's your thing. Why don't you just be that? And she got up and walked back in the kitchen and started cooking supper and left me there to think about that. And boy, did I ever. For about 11 years, I'd been looking for my own self-love through trying to impress my father. She opened me up to what? Being me. And so for the past 25 years, I've been making a meager living as a storyteller, writer, speaker. Do anything I have to do to keep from having to get a real job. And I'm loving every minute of it. Not too many people do what I do. It's just a quirk. It's weird. I don't even know how I got into it. Just kept following my thing. What are y'all going to do? You're going to follow a traditional path? That's fine. That's great. You're going to do something absolutely unique? That's great too. The best thing you can do and the best thing you can offer your community and your school, church, and the country is your best inner stuff. Find it. I was back in our little town a year ago this week, I think. Standing out on that football field that looks just about like your new one. 8,000 seat stadium, something incredible, big for our little town. Freshly cut field, 5,000 people in the stands, 225 graduating seniors, and I was there to make the speech. I was really nervous. I made the speech that night, and as I told the story about the Canary Reading Group with Miss Bell setting up in the stands, I looked up there as they were giggling, and I almost lost it. Because over the stadium press box was the name of the stadium. Grady Robinson Stadium, named after my father. So there I was, you see, standing on his field, finally, starring for a few minutes. Not by carrying a football, but by just being me. There were some great hugs after that little speech. Saw some people I hadn't seen in years. Elmer Joe Tackett walked up. Had on a lime green polyester leisure suit. Slick back hair, open collar, a lot of gold chains. He's a superintendent of schools down there.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. The faculty and administration of Merrillville High School welcome all of you here this evening. We want to thank you for sharing in this special occasion. To the class of 1992, the faculty and I wish you the very best in your futures. We're proud of you and thankful to have had the opportunity to work with you. We congratulate you on achieving this milestone in your life. To the parents of the graduates, I want to compliment you on your outstanding seniors. You have done your job well, and this has made our job at school much easier. I want to take this opportunity to thank some special people who have added much assistance and grandeur to this ceremony. They are members of the Board of School Trustees, Mr. L.J. Christ, Mrs. Donna Staff, Mr. John J. Carr, Mr. Arthur T. Collins, Jr., Mr. Bryant J. Matthews, and also Mrs. Donna Staff. Dr. Robert Shrinker, Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Drew Farunas, Senior Counselor, and Mr. Sherman Lewis, Director of Guidance. The faculty members from Merrillville High School and Sauk Elementary School. The support personnel from Merrillville High School, friends and relatives of MHS staff, the Radisson Star employees, and the student ushers. Thank you for your help. Presenting the diplomas on stage will be the Superintendent of Merrillville Community Schools, Dr. Robert Shrinker. He will be assisted by Mr. Lewis and Mr. Farunas, who will read the graduates' names as they approach the stage. Dr. Shrinker and members of the board, as principal of Merrillville High School, I certify the following named seniors have completed all of the requirements for graduation as prescribed by the state of Indiana and the Merrillville Board of School Trustees, and at this time should be presented their diplomas.
Christine Carol Hickok. Jessie Lynn Mishka. Kristen Elizabeth Johnston. Jennifer Marie Jagila. Vernon Lamont Admonson. Terry Demetrius Agee. Michael Raymond Allenbreeze. Robert Allen Albers. Robert Franklin Alderman. Beth Marie Anaclerio. Veronica Anaya. Mark Thomas Andres. Nicholas Robert Anguiano. Diana Lynn Antonovich. Shanita Ray Armand. Michael Garrett Atwood. Danielle Rebecca Baylor. Brandon Michael Bank. Andre Lamont Bankhead. Dontrial Michael Bankhead. Russell Arthur Banks. Roy Anthony Barandella. Victoria K. Barr. Michelle Ann Bartley. Michael Basadua. Maria Antonia Basil. Jesse Edward Bell III. Laura Louise Bell. Robert Earl Belshaw Jr. Mark Andrew Burnt. Catherine Rose Bettini. Kenneth Norman Bykoff. Aaron David Bittner. Ernest Gerald Black. Violet Boromisa. Brian F. Bowles. Fiona Nicole Bowman. Trevor Ray Bridges. Marie Husted Brogard. Justin F. Brown. Mark Edward Brown. Allison Marie Bruce. Diana Bajewski. Michelle Bajewski. Tina Michelle Bullock. Christy Dawn Bolza. Takesha Suann Burris. Albert Daniel Burns. Jody Lynn Campbell. Shauna Roseanne Carlisle. Dawn Marie Carlson. Christine Marie Carnello. Ryan Matthew Carpenter. Jennifer Jean Carr. The presentation is being made by her father, Mr. John Carr, the Secretary of the School of Board of Trustees. Amy Lee Kerrigan. Julie Ann Kavanaugh. David Ross Santani. Valentin Cheslobach. Gregory Michael Chrisman. Elizabeth Ann Christie. Carlos Carlton Clark. Joseph Ray Clark. Michelle Christine Clark. Scott Allen Clark. Danielle Lynn Collins. Laura Lynn Connors. Christina Contry. Heidi Anna Rose Cook. Kelly Lynn Cox. Kimberly Michelle Cox. Jacob John Seski. Prudence Noel Cunningham. Lisa Michelle Hurriel. Marcellus Tremel Davis. Elizabeth Dicos. Jamie Del Rio. John Allen DeVries. Brian Keith Dillon. Jacob Anthony Dobis.
Leo Rafi Dumanian. Tina Eugenia Dress. Ricky Ann Dubert. Lorraine Marie Dukeshire. Scott Anthony Dunn. Luke Byron Dunscombe. Christy Renee Duval.
Hi, Christy!
Cindy Renee Dwyer. Mark Philip Eberly. Tracy Lynn Eccles. Christopher Robert Edgerton. Amber Charlotte Ike. Christine Louise Elliott. Jennifer Ann Engel. Alex Edmund Erdelis. Christopher Wayne Eskew. Linda Marie Farmer. Jennifer Jamie Fashing. Kathleen Patricia Filan. Carrie Ann Foreman. Roger Graham Foster. Kimberly Ann Fott. Daniel Adam Franz. Jason Christopher Freecott. Stephanie Lynn Frenchick. Robert Wayne Craig. Amy Ellen Frink. David Alegrio Garcia. Manuel Jacob Garcia. Kimberly Renee Garrity. Lee Garza Jr. Stephanie Georgievich. Jody Ann Jaleo. Rebecca Lynn Lagola. Melissa Lynn Good. David Charles Goodrich. Shannon Lita Goodson. Margaret Ann Gorman. James Brian Gorski. Sandra Luella Gray. Daniel Greenwood. Philip Roy Guerrero.
Jeremy Charles Guthrie. Jennifer Dawn Guzik. Jeffrey Lauren Hall. Stephen Joseph Hamilton. Jamie Marie Harding. Jennifer Lynn Harms. Todd Justin Hasaguchi. Joseph Dean Hatfield. Michael A. Henninger. Shelley Lynn Hermes. Christina Hernandez. Lisa Marie Hernandez. Maria Zulema Hernandez. Mark David Hernick. Harry John Hopkins. Gina Darlene Hovey. Stephen Michael Hutfills. Timothy Shane Hutfills. Maureen Therese Height. Raga Lilyaski. Jennifer Michelle Irby. Stephen Gerald Jamrock. Anthony Charles Johnson. Monica Elizabeth Johnson. Peter J. Jolewski. Lawrence Maurice Jones Jr. Julie Ann Joseph. Tony Kosmakowski. Brenda Marie Fileman. Michael Allen Kennison. Brian Alex Kozer. Timothy Michael Koleski. Christine Louise Kozelski. Linda Kanowski. Hillary Lake. Paul Allen Lambrecht. April K. Lanning. John Anthony Lashenik. Christine A. Lau.
Michael Scott Laver. Kimberly Marie Levitt. Darren Thomas Langio. Eric Allen Lindborg. Christine Ann Lish. Paula Ann Liddy. Helen Logothetis. Heather Lynn Lipke. Nathan Andrew Litke. Darsha Londa Luna. Angelia Renee Looney. Angela Marie Lunsford. Megan Marie Lux. Presentation is being made by her father, Dr. Anthony Lux, Assistant Superintendent. Craig Scott Lynn. Todd Macaluso. Megan Mackey. Megan Joy Maddox. Dan Milanovich. Michelle Lynn Marius. Maria Marek. Ronald William Markle. Letitia Marie Morera. Dawn Renee Martin. Mark Andrew Nassau. Peter William Nassau. Julie Lynn Matthews. Jennifer Rebecca McDonald. Kelly Lynn McLean. Scott Edwin McNabb. Jennifer Beth Metcalf. Elizabeth Diane Meyer. Kristen Lynn Meyer. Deborah Joy Midget. Tim Bradford Miles Jr. Justin Kurt Miller. Naomi Miller. Jeffrey John Minchuk. Kristen Marie Mitch. Brian Scott Mitchell. Earl D. Mitchell. Edward Lee Mitchell. Tiffany Ann Mitchell. Thomas Owen Moffett. Joseph David Moe. Marcella Pedrera Montero. Victor Hugo Morales. DeWallen Amir Morgan. Victoria Morin. Heather Renee Moat. Douglas Scott Musgrove. Kimberly Lynn Mispinski. Daniel Joseph Navarro. Sharon Marlene Naraki. Jennifer Gwen Neely. Kristen Ann Nelson. Mark William Nelson. George Nicoteris. Jeffrey Brian Nyman. Victoria Nonis. Kimberly Lane Knuckles. Daniel Thomas O'Brien. Jody Lynn Alessic. Craig Thomas Oliver. Bernard C. Orlip III. Robert James Orlip. Shelley K. Osler. Cynthia Otano. Tammy Renee Page. Heather Rolette McCormick Ortiz Payne. Tanya Marie Tangentitis. Maria Andrea Panis. Malika Pintella. Emmanuel L. Papadakis. Alexandra Julia Papadopoulos. Stephen R. Parsons. Jennifer Marie Pasco. Michael F. Heckler. Carrie Leah Pennock. Rosario Frank Gonzato. Christopher Ray Hepmer. Robert Joseph Parisho. Joseph Lee Peterson. Thomas Craig Pfeiffer. Gregory Allen Bizapny. Dale Patrick Porter. Stephen Michael Posgay. Sandra Saris. Melissa Ann Puente. Jason Pupik. Christopher Andrew Kostelnik. Christopher Norman Radcliffe. Milo Redoya. Ingrid Vanessa Rice. Sean Ronald Ravenscroft. Sharon Ann Reichel. Mark Adam Riekman. Ronald Patrick Robertson. Eugene L. Robinson. Carlos Rodriguez, II. Janine Marie Rossi. Christina Lynn Roy. Brian Michael Roysch. Jennifer Lynn Salia. Ronald Jack Salyers. Craig Nicholas Samarja. David Michael Santaramo. Jason Brian Santiago.
Lisa Yvette Satterfield. Jennifer Lynn Shell. Aaron Paul Schmidt. David Jeffrey Schmuck. Thomas Anthony Schubert. Kimberly Alyssa Scott. Melissa D. Scoville. Jennifer Lynn Stemples. Jill Elizabeth Simplinsky. Angelica Susie Servant. Daryl Allen Schaefer. Adam Thomas Shapley. Brian James Shaver. Derek Allen Shepard. Patricia Ann Shores. Christy Ann Short. Christina L. Schultz. Richard Sikanowski. Raquel Allen Ann Silva. Hope Marie Simpson. Joan Marie Sinar. Eric Stewart Slade. Dawn Marie Smith. Jennifer Marie Smith. Cynthia Lynn Smith. Marcia Lynn Sotko. Brenda Marie Sorrells. Brian Edward Sotek. Melanie Lynn Sparks. Patrice Annette Spiegler. Brandy Lee Starrett. Melanie K. Stefanovich. Heidi Jo Stewart. Eric Matthew Steiner. Stavros George Stroblis. Eric Paul Strong. Stephanie Faith Stupar. Pagoja Shoni Saluski. Frank Louis Sukowski. James Vincent Svedich. Philip Wayne Swiggin. Jason Anthony Talby. Amy Beth Taylor. Michelle Sherry Tigey. Dawn Marie Terra. Christopher James Thomas. Cheryl Ann Tisa. Sophia Todorowski. Catherine Renee Torres. Ruben T. Torres. Rosa A. Trevino. Catherine Ann Truly. Athanasios Sigris. LaDonna Tamika Tucker. Kristen Ann Tuckett. John Spiro Turpa. Karen Ann Urbancic. Sjoerd Van Egera. Amy Lynn Bassis. Jessica Ann Vasquez. Conrad Stephen Villanueva. Tiffany Villarreal. David Brian Biskowski. Allison Marie Volsko. Kimberly Marie Wallman. Curtis Merle Waldron, Jr. Dennis Joe Watson. Daniel George Wise. Jason Michael Wells. Eric Matthew Welson. Teresa May Winger. Derek Blaine Whitaker. Adrian Lee Williams. Kenneth Dean Williams. Antoine DeForest Wilson. Jessica Lee Wilson. Michael Jerome Wilson. Henry Clifton Wirtz. Michael Eric Wolf. Sherry Lee Wood. Sherry Renee Wood. Lorian Lene Woods. John Patrick Zabinski. Shawnee Denise Zimmerman. Melissa Diane Zolan.
everyone for your attendance today, where you served as witnesses to the significant event in the lives of these young men and women. After the tassel turning and official announcement of graduation, you are invited to come forward and congratulate the newest alumni of Merrillville High School. And now, will the senior class of 1992 please stand? As your tassel crosses that point in your cap, which separates one side from another, let that gesture symbolize the closing of one phase of your journey to maturity and the opening of another phase yet to be experienced. Use your right hand and move your tassel to the right side of your cap. By the powers vested in me by the state of Indiana, I announce you are graduates of Merrillville High School. Congratulations to class of